Hello, Fabulous Libra. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of October 2018, looking at life and love. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. What an amazing month it is. We have the end of an extended cycle and a pivotal point of another. And you add to this a powerful new moon in your sign. And that is exactly where I'm going to start. Right around the 8th of the month, we are going to have a new moon, and it is speaking with Pluto. This is a conversation of some tension and motivation. And considering that this is a new moon in your sign, it represents a time when you are really motivated. I mean, just truly focused on some new chapter or some new beginning you are really wanting to make happen. When there is a new moon in your sign, it tends to represent a time when you feel you get a fresh perspective on who you really are and how it is that you're going to live it. And it also tends to represent a time when you are planting seeds that are near and dear to your heart. You add this Pluto connection, and it suggests a few things. So one is that determination that I mentioned, that sense of absolute focus and wanting to pour yourself in a particular direction. But the other part of this is having to accept factors that may not necessarily be as ideal as you may like, or having the new beginning come about due to circumstances that might not necessarily feel so good. Now that really is okay. Some of the most amazing new beginnings happen out of necessity and out of a sense of what it is that is acceptable to you and what it is that is not acceptable to you. And part of your new beginning may be this distinction, may be having this particular awareness transpire. Now, ultimately, it is a sense of you looking at who you really are, what matters to you most, what matters to you first, and are you actually living it? Where is it that there might be a contradiction that you have to face? And where is it now that you're ready to do the work? And with Pluto speaking in this way, with this new moon, chances are there will be some inner work taking place. Well, if you are willing to do that work, then it can be a time when you get not only a fresh perspective, but truly feel like you are being more firmly planted in a direction of living a life that feels that much more authentic. It is an emotional new moon, and it is a time when those interactions that you have with other people may stir you very deeply, may be part of making you aware of those things that maybe you deny about yourself or don't really want to accept within yourself. And it is those interactions with other people that might feel a little bit uncomfortable. But ultimately, it is a sky that is empowering and empowered because it senses that you have the willingness to be honest with yourself about your past and about how you interpreted it and where you are today. And with that sense of clarity and bravery that it takes to look more honestly within yourself, well, that sets the foundation for a much more brighter future ahead. But it really does start with you. As we move towards the later part of the month, right around the 24th, we are going to have a full moon. Now, I am very excited about this full moon because it is happening hand in hand with Uranus and speaking in supreme harmony with Saturn. It's also standing across the sky from your ruling planet, Venus. And so there's a few things here that are very interesting to me. That connection, that Uranus-Saturn connection, just on one level, that tends to be very fortunate. That is a lucky energy. That is opportunity coming out of nowhere and excelling your pathway forward. It is that connection with Venus that tells me that what transpires around this full moon is deeply personal to you. And it is this full moon that is taking place in a part of the sky that has to do with a few things. One is that digging deep and looking within yourself at your truest motivations and doing the work that change sometimes requires. And this is where that payoff of that work can come very quickly in a way that delights you. But there's another element to this as well, and that has to do with your relationship with financial institutions. So just on a literal level, this can be a time when you get some good news where it comes to a matter having to do with possibly a grant, a loan, a bursary, insurance payments, or benefits that you may qualify for. The news that does come seems to come out of nowhere, but again, it looks like there is delight attached to this, but also permanence as well, as you see how what is happening in some ways represents a conclusion, but also helps you to feel like you are on the precipice of a brand new beginning. Now, speaking of Venus, right around the 4th of the month, Venus will officially go retro. Now, Venus will actually re-enter your sign right around the 31st or the 1st of November. I'm going to save more of that for next month because I think that's really when having Venus retrograde in your own sign is going to speak to you that much more powerfully. But at least for now, it is Venus retrograde season for most of this month. You are in a Venus retrograde. And Venus right now is retrograding in a part of the sky for you that has to do with self-esteem and self-worth, among other things. And as I look at what's happening days following the full moon towards the later part of the month, that is when Mars will officially leave shadow. So Mars is going to end the Mars retrograde season as we get under the light of the full moon, just a few days after the full moon. These two things together are very powerful. With that Mars retrograde season, the full season ending, in a part of the sky that has to do with flirtation and romance and what your heart truly desires. And of course, with Venus retrograde for most of this month in a part of the sky that has to do with things like how it is that where you are in love is a reflection of what it is that you believe about yourself, and where is it that you're ready to challenge some of that. Well, this is where the two come together this month in particular. For those of you who are open to meeting someone new, you'll still have Mars in this flirtatious part of your sky into next month, into the middle of next month. So you can take advantage of this by having fun and getting your flirt on. It is important for you to watch what happens right around the 28th of the month, because that is when Mars will be where he was back towards the end of June. So what happens is going to in some way represent a further clarity, a further insight into what was transpiring in your life way back towards the end of June. And this is going to represent an important moment for you where you realize the source of your attraction and what is it that draws you to another person and what that really says about you. And if you are open to meeting someone new, if there's been someone there sort of in your sphere, whether or not anything has been confirmed, well, this is where you'll get some further insights and further news as to what has been transpiring. If it truly is that there is no one in your sphere at all right now, no one that you've got your eye on or had any kind of interaction, flirtation with, well, then do watch a few time frames. One is right around that new moon in your sign early in the month, because it is so connected to what you want in your heart of hearts, because there is this very strong energy, this intense, almost fated pull type of energy in the air. Well, chances are you may find yourself attracted to someone, having an exchange with someone that makes you aware of the depth of your feeling. And there's nothing like attraction that can do that for us. But of course, you do want to watch what's happening later in the month, because that is when a lot of lessons where it comes to flirtation and romance and just meeting new people is going to feel like it comes together. For those of you in an established bond, make sure you're watching what is happening in the last week of the month, starting from that full moon right to the very end. There are a lot of things happening astrologically that will speak to matters of love. However, that full moon also has a connection to profound intimacy and vulnerability. Chances are the new moon in the early part of the month will stir your emotions very deeply, but it is going to be right around that full moon that you're able to actually be honest about it, to understand it more deeply, and to discuss it with your partner. And ultimately, this is the opportunity to find a moment to feel that much more bonded with each other. However, it is an active time. And so I do feel like if you've been on a little bit of a journey with your partner since the middle of May, this is where you're going to feel that sense of culmination and conclusion. But at the same time, this is going to be a time that gives you a glimpse into the further insights and further work that may be there. But thankfully, with this time of reward happening in the last days of the month, it'll be work that looks especially appealing to you now. What I love about this month for you, well, look, it's got to be that new moon happening in the early part of the month. I think this is going to represent a powerful new beginning for you in key ways. A new beginning that starts because emotions have been stirred, reminding you that you are alive. And wherever it is that your heart and emotion is taking you now, and whatever new beginning it is inspiring you to make, it really is just the very beginning, because you are certainly on a journey with this Venus retrograde season towards greater love and greater wisdom as well. Well, thank you so much for watching. You can get a video like this every week by logging on to astrofabulous.com or nadiyashah.com. Sign up to be one of my superstars. Superstars get expanded, exclusive video scopes each and every week, unlimited access to special horoscopes, and so much more. All of this in the superstar space. I look forward to meeting you there. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.